Alright, welcome back. Let's talk blades, because that's what we're into. What I have for you today is my Code 4 collection. And I know I said that kind of sad. Only because I like these knives. I really do. I just, I don't know. I wish they were a little bit more grippy. I could customize them if I really wanted to. I could take a Dremel and probably carve some lines in there or some sort of design on the handle, or get some grip tape and stick it on there if I really wanted to, which I've done that, but all it did is just tear up the inside of my pockets. Either way, let's get into it. Code 4 from Cold Steel. Really ergonomic handle. It's nice and thin. It's I believe it's aircraft aluminum. And the pocket clip obviously is pretty deep carry, because you're only going to get like that much sticking out of your pocket at one time. But it's very ergonomic. It feels fantastic in the hand. And of course you got minor jimping right on the spine here. And of course I have two different types, but they're basically the same materials, just different shapes. This is the Spear Point in S35VN. Sorry, that's just from the oils on my hands. S35VN, Cold Steel. And the same thing with the Tonto is S35VN, aluminum handle. I have to admit, carrying these are a joy, because they slide in the pocket, they sit in the pocket nice and thin, nothing's bulging. And you still have room, because the footprint on there is only that wide. And the same thing kind of goes for this one too. Yeah, just a little bit wider on this one. Don't know why. You can switch the pocket clip left or right, but it's only tip-up carry, which is great because I love tip-up carry compared to tip-down. And the thumb studs are pretty easy to get to. Boom, pop it open, it's ready to go. It's just my only quarrel with these knives, this model knife, is that you don't really have any grip on the sides of the handles. Although you do have the contoured finger choils here, indentations I should say. You get a full hand grip on there, and you hold it in the saber grip. Feels amazing. It's meant for that. I know it's supposed to be that tactical type application. No other liners that are in there, as you can tell. No liners. It's just the aluminum, and it's got one kind of like a aluminum back spacer, and it's got the spine lock on there. So it feels fine. It feels fine. When you close it, you let the ricasso hit your finger. You got the rest of it down, closed. At least that's what I do anyways. If you want to close it one-handed, you could do it two-handed. You know, a lot of people do that. They take the other hand and you push down on the lock, and then you close it the rest of the way. These aren't exactly cheap. On Amazon right now, they're $79.63. And I think they only come in this weird kind of coyote tannish gray color, which, I mean, it doesn't bother me at all. Frankly, I like that. I like the darker the color, the better. I just don't like any crazy colors unless I'm going camping somewhere, or if I'm out in the wilderness and you drop something, you want something that's going to pop, like colors-wise. Otherwise, there's really no point in having something super bright, unless you're into that sort of thing. But I'm not really into it. So, these are great. Code 4, I believe, in penal code, law enforcement, basically means no backup, or no assistance needed. It's just something that you say on the walkie towards dispatch. It's just a little cool little thing, like, you know, I got this type message. That's what Code 4 means. I could be wrong. You could look it up yourself, but I'm just jogging off of memory right now what Code 4 actually means. It kind of brings me back to the days when I was in the Explorers program for my local law enforcement here in town back in high school. I did that for a senior project, and you couldn't graduate unless you did a senior project and you passed with at least a D. Can you believe that? I don't know if that is how it is today, but I know back then it was a pain in the butt, but I really enjoyed being a part of that. They were just really strict. It was kind of like an ROTC type thing if you're into that sort of thing, and then law enforcement, if you're looking into it, it kind of gives you some perks if you're trying to get into that type of profession. It is a stressful job, and I knew a lot of good cops. I really did, and one of them actually carried cold steel. I do remember that because I think that's how I got into cold steel, or how I even knew what cold steel was back when I guess his name was Butch. Yeah, I think his name was Butch. Really cool guy, cool police officer. Showed me the ropes, took me on a couple of ride-alongs. It was really a good experience. A lot of people don't like cops, and I know why. I can tell why, and I can tell you right now, there's both good and bad in everything, in every aspect of life, whether it be careers or jobs. And I'm going to tell you right now that there are good doctors out there, there are bad doctors. There are good firemen, and there are bad firemen. There's good people and bad people in every aspect of society. So people that sit here and they hate on cops as a whole, I think that that's wrong. I'm not, I digress. I'm trying to talk about knives, and I'm sitting here talking about cops. But there's a lot of hate going around towards law enforcement, and the only time I've ever had hate towards law enforcement, I guess, was only one time when a police officer wanted to look at the pocket knife I was carrying in my pocket, and I had to bust it out for him. He looked at it, and he put it back in my hands, and he said, hey, you should probably just leave that at home, even though it was just a simple folding knife, and we were at In-N-Out, and there was nothing illegal or wrong about it. I guess he just wanted to see it, and I probably had all the right not to show him, but I kind of have a soft spot. So, anyways, I digress. Let's get to the specs on this stuff. So, Code 4 is penal code. If you want to look it up, you can. But it basically means no backup, I guess, in my definition. So don't, sit there and be like, oh, he's wrong. Like, I might be, but I'm just going off of memory here. It basically means that you don't need any extra help. Pulling this knife out, I guess, is kind of just that reminder of, I can do it. I don't know. Look it up if you want to. This is a 3.5-inch cutting blade with a 4-inch reach, assuming that you are holding it as such and not choking up on the blade, which I do not advise, especially on something like this. It is a cold steel. It is ridiculously sharp, and if you tend to slip, you can cut yourself, which I have done at one time in my life when I choked up and put my finger on the ricasso here, right at the very edge, right where you see that cutting. Not on this particular knife, but on a knife very similar to this. I decided to choke up and do some fine work, and I slipped a little bit, and the inside of my finger got cut. And yes, I did feel it. And it was just one of those things where I learned my lesson. So if you're holding it as such in the saber grip, you do have a 4-inch reach, 3.5-inch cutting edge, but you do have that 4-inch reach from the pivot. Now overall is about 8.5 inches. Yeah, 8.5 inches. Yep, 8.5 inches overall length on there. Now let's see, as far as weight goes, what? Sorry. There we go. 4.15 ounces. So under 5 ounces, not bad. Like I said, very slim. That's one thing I really loved about carrying this knife. Very slim. You can find these knives on Amazon. Like I said, they're $79.63. That's before taxes and shipping. Unless you got Prime, then maybe shipping might be a little bit less. Great knife. Great knife. The only thing I don't like is the fact that there is no grip on the sides here. So you do have plenty of grip where it counts, but if you're trying to pull this out of your pocket in a stressful situation and you're trying to bust it out like that, you don't really have too much grip on here unless you want to throw on there some grip tape, which I had on a very short time on this particular knife. I had oval shaped cutout grip tape, and it was clear grip tape, so I didn't lose the color on this. Of course, you could use black grip tape. You could just go to like a regular hardware store, any hardware store, and put on some grip tape on there. But just to be honest with you, the grip tape will shred your pants pockets a little bit. I know that from experience. I don't suggest it. I mean, this is designed to be just as is, and you should be able to pull it out your pocket, pop it open with confidence as such. But if it doesn't bother you, it doesn't bother you. To me, it did a little bit, because I noticed that when I pulled one of these out in my pocket, I can't remember which one, whether it's a Tonto or this one, and I went to try and open it, I was actually kind of slipping in my hand a little bit, and this was colder time of year. So I noticed that in the warmer seasons, aluminum handles that have no texture tend to be fine with grip, because you still have the oils, the natural oils in your hands that keep things just at that certain level where you do have grip. You know, when you pick up a penny with your fingertip and it's still stuck to your, that's what I'm talking about. When you're cold, when it's cold outside and you try to pick up a coin like that, it doesn't happen. It doesn't stick to your fingers. The same thing applies with this type of texture metal. You have no grip in the cold. So I didn't really carry these during the winter time. During summer or spring is perfect time to carry these. It's like a seasonal knife, I guess. But I mean, they're great. They're great. Let me show you guys the thickness on these. 9.3 millimeters, and of course the blade thickness 3.2. So I mean, you're getting a lot out of it. It is cold steel, and as far as sharpness goes, I'm pretty sure you guys already know it's cold steel, so it's going to be sharp. Get out some paper. No resistance whatsoever. Super sharp. That's cold steel. And here's some rubber band rubber. No resistance whatsoever. It cut through it like a hot knife through butter. Yeah, if you want something that's under $100 and you don't mind spending a good $80 for decent materials and a good strong knife, the only thing, like I said, it just doesn't have any grip on the sides right here. But on the top and bottom, you do have adequate grip. So if that doesn't seem to bother you, then this might be the knife for you. Very typical kind of design, but it's a great knife from Cold Steel. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.